women entering the workforce, women getting educated, availability of contraception. These are all things, and by the way, urbanization as well. These are all things that cause the total fertility rate to go down. And if you think about yourself, I mean, you have 3 children, I have 3 children, but for a woman wanting to enter the workforce or just entering the workforce, who has 4, 5, 6 children, that's not going to work for her, right? So as you can see, these two forces are opposing each other. So more progress for women, in terms of education and economic advantage and equality means a lowering of the total fertility rate. And evidence that it's not coming back is that many countries, particularly in East Asia, have tried and are trying really, really hard to have people, get people to have more children, right? And they're offering tax credits, and they're offering housing, subsidized housing, and they're offering, all kinds of advantages if people would have more children. And it's not working. That's the interesting thing. It's not working.
Like the tax credits and the financial incentives are not working, or?
I mean, they may work to some extent for some people, but overall, the total fertility rate is not going back up in these very low countries. So that's why I say it is not, it's going to go down or it's not going to come back. And that's why other people are saying that. Just let me add that when I talk about these causes, social causes, which I talked about quite a bit now, are not the only reasons that it's going down. And we'll talk about some other reasons. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We're going to get into environmental and lifestyle factors. Absolutely. But I do think that it's interesting that when you look at North American, or we'll just say westernized countries, where we do see this declining birth rate. I remember, so my husband is Italian, and it was just commonplace for, and my ex-husband, God bless his grandmother. His grandmother had 8 children. Like my ex-husband's father is like 10 children. He was 8 of 10, right? So in Greece, and which is my ex-husband's nationality, my current husband's Italian, it was very commonplace to have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 children. And now when you look at Italy and you look at, I'm actually not familiar with the Greek birth rate, but I know in Italy they are having children later, right? So it is a function of that education of women and women getting into and this is not to say that that's a bad thing. Of course, I'm a highly educated woman myself. I consider myself lucky because I've always been in business for myself. So I set my own hours. So I would bring my baby to the clinic. I would breastfeed my children in between patients. Like I set the rules. It was my house, right? Right. But not everybody has that. I recognize that that's because I was running my own company. Not every woman has the, luxury of bringing her child and breastfeeding on, the baby on demand in between clients. Like that's not necessarily accepted everywhere. But in Italy and in England and Canada, where I'm from, and the States, these numbers are children, there's so many women that are choosing, let's say, to have babies later in life. And we can talk about some of the physiology there, but like the egg quality and the sperm quality, potentially with the partner is not necessarily what it was when you were, let's say, like my husband, his parent, my in-laws, my Italian, they were 18 when they had him. Right? Your egg quality at 18 is going to be different when you're 40. Absolutely. Right? So there's something to think about there for the women. I know there's a lot of women listening here, young and old, and for those of you that have daughters and sons for that matter. But I think for egg quality, I think this is a big limiting factor sometimes in infertility. And I know we'll talk about sperm and sperm count as well, but something to consider. I know that my mother-in-law now, she'll say, I'm so happy I had my kids early because I kind of got them out of the way and now I can enjoy them. Like she's 60 and they're, and they're 40, and she's just, she's having the best time. So that's also something to think about too.
Yeah. Well, the age at first birth is definitely getting higher.
Yeah. It's later. Yeah.
And later in life, people are, and that's in part due to that I'm going to get educated first. I'm going to get my degree. I'm going to establish my business. I'm going
Right.
and which something that men till now have been the ones that have done,
Right.
but now the woman is saying, hey, me too. I want to do this. I want to get ahead. And, so, and so that age, as you said, the age at first birth is really important here because men have declining fertility and semen quality to some extent with age. Not so much. I mean, I don't know the oldest man ever to father a child, but it's pretty old. I've seen 98.
I was going to say 70. Wow, that really trumped. I did not realize 98. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, you can Google. It's kind of a fun thing to look at. I should have done that maybe before I came on, but that means that not so much has changed since they were 16, right? And it's been a long time. So the rate of decline of male fertility is pretty slow, absent certain behaviors and exposures we can talk about. But leave that out. But for a woman, she's born with all the eggs she's ever going to have, right? And actually, she has a lot more in the womb, and then they're pruned, if you will, and then she's born with these eggs. And then that supply decreases. And it decreases pretty rapidly. So, they're available maybe 15, 16 years of age, possibly earlier. I don't want to go into those very early pregnancy, but, and then, after 35, the quality starts going down. And as you approach menopause, of course, the number gets smaller and the quality gets less. And so when you're waiting that long to get pregnant, it's a riskier game. It's risky anyway. There's always odds of getting pregnant and not pregnant. But when you do it later, your odds are lower. So just a word, I'm sure people, your listeners and you, of course, know about the possibility of egg freezing. And many women are doing that as insurance, freezing the egg when they're young and the quality is good and having it available to them when they're older and want to get pregnant after they've gotten their job or their PhD or whatever it is that they're gonna do. I just want to put a word in here about social justice. I don't know how much you talk about that, but not everyone can afford to do this.
Right.
To freeze their eggs, right? And actually, a lot of the things that I'm going to suggest that might be helpful are not equally available to everybody. So there's a theme running through all this, which I won't point out each time, but maybe people can think about, could I do this? Could a poorer person do this? Could a less educated person do this? Could a person who's, and so on and so forth. The options for protecting ourselves decline with our declining economic status, right?
Yes, well said.